would be really neat. I mean, that was kind of almost a little surreal. It was a light snow. It was cold enough. You actually felt like you were playing outdoors with you. I don't want to say your buddies because I talked before about the importance of these games, but there was something about it that night, that time of the year, and the way the day was before was we were wearing shirts like that outside, and then came back to the rink the next day, and it was cold, and it was a little bit of snow flying. So it was something that I'll never forget, that's for sure, and I know our players would be the same.
Yeah. In the middle, second row.
Hey, Ryan. You have some players on your roster that have been through these kind of big NHL events and outdoor games before. Some are playing, their first or second NHL game period. Do you lean on these kind of situations to sort of help guide the members of the group that maybe haven't been in this situation before?
Yeah, I think you do, and they're always, no matter what situation, they're the ones that have to set the tone for your team. So whether you're playing at home or you're playing in the Stanley Cup final or you're playing an outdoor game, you have to look to those guys to make sure they're the ones that have composure, make sure they're the ones that are doing a great job with their preparation focus, because people always look to them no matter what the situation is. So a younger player will most definitely look to an older player and see, is he preparing the same way that he normally does, that I normally see him, and without a doubt you'll see those guys do that.
We'll do 2 more questions for Coach. Left side, fourth row.
Coach, just how do you gauge just the overall mood of your group? I know there's been some frustration at times, but do you like where the mood is and the vibe is right now?
Yeah, our mood has been good. Like, the energy from the guys has been good around the room for sure. We're not where we want to be to start the season. There's no sugarcoating that or hiding that. But the players have been good, so that's not an issue at all for us in regards to the energy or the mood that they're bringing. And I know tomorrow will be no different for us. They'll be ready to play.
Left side.
Ryan, I feel like it's a question we ask every Flames head coach, but what's the plan in maybe not shutting down, but slowing down guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and will you try to get certain matchups against those guys?
Well, it's harder on the road for sure. I mean, they get to put people on the ice that they want on whistles, so that part of it's harder. The challenge, I think, is you can't just have 1 or 2 guys that play against him, because his shift length, I mean, he can go for 30 seconds, he can go for 2 minutes and play at the same pace. So the only chance that you have is to make sure that you're committed to playing hard and solid as a 5-man unit all the time. When he's not the only good player on that side, and you have to know when the key guys are on the ice, and you have to make sure you take a lot of pride in playing hard against them, and being as connected and tight as a 5-man unit as you can.
Last one, all the way in the back.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned in Regina that feeling of maybe just that you were out there playing hockey with your buddies. When guys are feeling a little frustrated, things aren't quite going their way, is that a feeling that you hope they can kind of draw on with a spectacle like this?
Well, you always want to make sure that you're playing for the person beside you. I mean, that's the biggest thing, because you have a different intensity when you do that, because you have a responsibility, or maybe you have to be a little bit more accountable because you can't let that person down. So a lot of times it does come into play in that regard. You want to play hard for the guy that's next to you. So it for sure does come into play.